All right, another series review. So let's knock out the first one here. The Woman in Black, starring Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe. And this series review is brought to you by Ariel, the Little Mermaid. So this is to her to get off of my back for wanting me to do Fade to Black. So instead, I did Fade to Woman in Black. That works, right? I did something with black in the title, and two of them. So, and these were like an hour and a half a piece. So 30 minutes times 6. She knows what I mean. All right. So, let's get into it. So, this is a remake. For those of you that might not know, this was a fairly popular, I want to say British TV movie, if memory serves. I have seen it, but my memory of it is very, very vague. In fact, I considered watching it along with these two, and I'll probably get to it eventually, but for right now, we're just going to stick to these two. But this is a readaptation, is I guess what it would be. But regardless, this was, or at least I think this is a book, right? This is based on a book, isn't it? Produced based on the novel, yeah. So the readaptation, not a remake, but splitting hairs. All right, so this movie takes place in a few different time periods, but mostly it takes place in 1910. That's where the lion's share of the film takes place. And this is a PG-13 rated horror film, but you know what? That does not stop this film from being totally fucked up. Like, if anyone has a problem with PG-13 horror movies and thinks like, well, they have to hold back. Okay, I've seen a lot of hard R-rated horror, and 99% of them don't kill as many kids as this film does. This film almost only kills kids. I think only like one adult dies. Spoilers, obviously. But Daniel Radcliffe himself dies. And outside of that, it's just kids. The opening of the movie is 3 little girls playing with their dolls. And then they just see or hear something. Supposedly it's seeing. You have to see her, then she can control you. And they just like kind of stand up, walk over to these like triple windows that are there. Oh, I think they're already open. Doesn't matter. And they all just, no hesitation, all just jump straight to their death. An opening where 3 little girls commit suicide under the trance of some evil entity. Dude, that's a dark opening. Then another little girl, we find out that she's ingested lye, and then she starts vomiting up blood and dies. Brutal. Another little girl is in a house that's on fire, and Radcliffe tries to run in there to save her. And when he gets in there, she's surrounded by flames. She's not on fire yet, but she takes a lantern, throws it at her feet as he screams no, and it engulfs her in flames, and she burns to death. And then our main protagonist of the film's kid gets hit by a train with him trying to save him. So anybody who thinks like an R-rated film can't go fucked up, they haven't seen this movie. This movie features so many children's deaths, and they're all very evil. They're all super fucked up. 3 little girls jumping to their death, 1 kid ingesting lye, another kid setting themselves on fire, and another kid getting hit by a train as his father runs to his aid. Dude, you're not gonna find a film very often that has this much kid death, and if it does, it's not gonna be this fucked up. So this is a pretty hard PG-13. from the subject matter alone. So yeah, there you go. So I think that that's what this film has in spades, is like, this is about a woman killing monster, and she sure as fuck is successful in what she does. You know, when Freddy's coming after kids, they're like late teens. I mean, these people are, you know, they look like they're fucking in their, you know, early 20s or something. The kids in this movie are children. They are full-blown children. That's just not something you're apt to see very often. So I really do like that. This film has a ton of parallels going on throughout it that I caught in this viewing. Now that I'm watching it with more of that critical eye that I want to discuss here on the channel, I don't know if I can remember them all in one shot here. I'll hopefully come across them in my notes if I forget any of them. But the one, okay, so we'll try to knock out all the ones I can remember off the top of my head without looking through my notes, so that I can get them all into one, you know, example here of the parallels. So we meet our character Daniel Radcliffe, who has just currently lost a family member. So in our first shot where we're introduced to him, he is about, or at least as contemplating slitting his own throat with his straight razor. So he's considering taking his own life because of the loss of a loved one. Much like the woman in black, who loses a loved one and then kills herself. So she goes through with it, he does not. This is how they're different, you know, but there's parallels. Now, another parallel is a woman in white in this movie being Daniel Radcliffe's wife that passes on. And there's the woman in black. Of course, they're the opposites of one another. But with that, what is it? I wrote it down too. I wrote it down the way I wanted to say it. I know what it is, but I'm trying to see how. It's like the opposite. This is what it was. So the woman in black kills children, and in his world, before he comes to this place, the opposite is true. His kid kills the woman in white. So the woman in black kills children, and the children kill the woman in white. So I thought that was an interesting kind of flip reversal there, and a parallel as well. I think there's another one, but let's see if I can find it. Or maybe I'll just stumble upon it in my memory. The other parallel. I know what it is. So it's the ending. And I usually would say that for the ending, of course, but because I'm talking about the parallels. Okay, so at the very end of the movie, Daniel Radcliffe's character goes down into the swamp, and he grabs the kid, and he reunites her with her child, you know, bringing her Nathaniel back to Jeanette for the first time since, you know, she maybe gave birth to him. I mean, the kid doesn't even know that it's his mother, according to the second film. So she clearly didn't have much interaction with the kid. But she is finally reunited with her child. He goes down there and reunites it. Then, at first, I was like, damn, man, that's pretty hardcore that this guy goes out of his way, risks his life to reunite you with your child. He's done zero wrong to you. And your reward for that is killing him and his child? But then it struck me. Now, you can interpret this in whichever way you want. And yeah, I don't want my kid and I to be killed after I do something for you. That being said, you could view it, and this might work. And actually, it does work for me perfectly, because she's not the most mentally competent person to begin with, even when she was alive. We're talking about the woman in white, or the woman in black here. But she kills him to reunite him with his family. So he reunites her with hers, she returns the favor by reuniting him with his. So, as I said, at first I was like, oh, that's a dick move. But I could see in her eyes that being a treat, and the way we end up seeing it, because we do get to see the afterlife, he's very excited and happy to see her. He's reunited. He's happy. And I say, even though a man and his son are hit by a train and die, that's typically a very dark ending. That's a sad ending. That's not a good ending, right? That's not the happy ending. It's a sad ending, right? But they do it so cleverly here by showing us what he sees, since we're dealing with the spirit world in this. We get to see that afterlife glimpse, and in it, he's happy. So even though he dies, he's still happy, and the favor is technically returned, and the parallel is there. So I thought that was really cool. This movie just has fantastic atmosphere throughout. I think that aesthetically this film looks really cool. It's very drab. It looks like, the time period in which it's set in. There's nothing colorful. There's nothing cheery. I don't think a single person laughs genuinely in this. Like, I think someone's like mad, like crazy, and they kind of like laugh and whatnot, but it's not coming from a genuine place. So yeah, the film is a super downer, and this was kind of a risk for a child star coming off of Harry Potter, because I want to say he did this like very closely thereafter Deathly Hallows Part 2, if not like, I don't know if it was the same year, but damn, it was definitely close. This is 2012, I think, and I can't remember when the last one was. 2011? Is that right? Somewhere in that area. So yeah, I mean, I think that they did a great job. This has great atmosphere. It's super eerie. Yeah, I think some of the like woman in black stuff, that's kind of funny, because I feel like the woman in black stuff might be the weakest element of the film, just because it's so typical jump scary. But all that being said, I feel like the aesthetics and the atmosphere really carry this film, and just kind of the bold nature of killing children right and left within the film, and letting this ghost character stick to what she's actually going for, which is to get back at people for her losing her child. So she wants revenge for that, and takes it out on kids that have literally nothing to do with the loss of her son. Zero to do. So it's not fair at all, but this is what she does, and that's that. And then we meet this family who treats their dogs like children, and has like them sat at the table in their own like specially custom made chairs, acts like children. Now, in her case, she's replaced her dead child with dogs, and is basically keeping her sanity alive through them, even though she's very questionably sane, or questionably insane for that matter. That being said, I'm not really sure how I feel about the pet thing when people treat them and act like they're kids. I think the thing I'm 100% on is how annoyed I can become, and any parent can become, when people try to compare their dogs to your children. Like, oh, I get it. I have dogs. I have cats. No, you don't get it. No. And they're like, oh, no, I do. And it's like, I've had dogs and cats. And I've had kids. So I think I'm a better authority on this than you are. And you do not love your dog as much as I love my kid. It's just not the same. It's just not. I trust me, I loved my dog when I was a kid. My dog, Austin. I was going to say Buster, because I think I forgot to bring up in a movie that I just watched that there was a Buster in it, and I was like, how many fucking Buster dogs are there? Especially Buster Brown, which is what my dog's name was. That's not the dog though that I had a really good relationship with. He was fine. He was a fine dog. I cared for him, and he was a dog, and I like dogs. So I'm gonna like pretty much any dog unless they're like going out of their way to be a dick. But with these like with this dog, Austin, my golden retriever, who I only got to have for a very short amount of time before he died of cancer. I loved that dog, and I took his death very poorly. Very poorly. And I was in a very weakened state in my life and whatever. And he was everything to me. So when he passed, I was devastated. That said, as devastated as I was, I'd be 100 times more devastated, 1,000 times more devastated if my kid died. It's not, I don't even know if there's a times. I don't even think times would suffice. It wouldn't even be in the same league. There's no numbers worth multiplying because it's not on the same wavelength. Like, my dog died, I got over it. It sucks. I look back and I'm like, poor little guy. You know, like I wish I could have got to spend more time with him. You know, how everyone reacts to their pets dying. It sucks. It does. My kid dies, I would never ever get over it. And I hate to say this, but I would definitely consider taking my own life. Would you kill yourself over your dog dying? Probably not. And if you would, you have a very intense relationship with your dog. But yeah, I don't see that being a thing. So anyways, so that's one thing I'm like 100% positive on. I'm sure there's somebody out there, you know, some very rare people that like love their dog in like aggressively, like way more than most people do because of some, you know, who knows what. So maybe there are some people out there that are crazy about their dog, but it just isn't the same. You guys know. But yeah, the whole like treating my animal like they're a kid thing. I don't know. I'm biased on this because my mother did this with one of our dogs named Binky, and she like legit fucking treated that dog like a child and made me like babysit it. I missed out on so much cool shit when I was a kid because I was home babysitting my little brother dog, and I would just have to sit there on the couch while they were still in the house. By the way, they were still in the house. They didn't go anywhere. But I had to stay downstairs. Yeah, it was bullshit just to get me to stay. But I don't know. At the same time, it was like, she would come downstairs. Are you sure you got your eyes on Binky? He's okay? Like, fuck is he gonna do? Hang himself? You know? What's he gonna do? Sneak out of the house, steal the car, take a joyride, do some blow, fuck some hookers? Like, what exactly is Binky gonna do? So, yeah. So as I said, I'm a little traumatized by that whole thing, but yeah. How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about people treating their animals like kids, like straight up, like putting clothes on them and setting them at the table and talking to them like they're a person? Like, that's a little crazy shit, right? A little bit. No judgment, just a little fucking nuts. No judgment, and then I blast you. Whatever. Anyways. All right. And I like that the road gets washed away periodically at certain times throughout the day. So there's like no escaping this place once you're there. The window pane scare, even though it's a cheap jump scare, it's effective. And I like the shot of the kids crawling up out of their graves. That's good looking. And I talked about a lot of this shit, so let's see what else I have to talk about here. No way that car is pulling that fucking carriage out of the sludge and the, you know, whatever. Now in the second movie, it's just like water, so maybe, but the like thick sludge mud that he's in that looks like oil, there's no way an old car like that would be able to pull that thing up out of the water or the sludge as it was able to. Even halfway, like he gets it to where finally it just sinks back down and he can grab that kid. Yeah, I mean, who put that cross out there? Like, they were very accurate with where they went down. Like, they just like knew exactly where it was. Did they like try to swim down there and feel around and be like, here, put the cross here? And how'd they even get out there to put that cross out there? I don't know, whatever. And I like that it's kind of a fake out ending where it makes you think he survived because he's like at the very edge of the wall, and you're like, oh, he got the kid and he got out of the way in time. And then he looks back and it's like no one's standing there, and you're like, oh shit, he's dead. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I will say that him coming there seems to have gotten all those kids killed. So he gets to have this happy ending while a bunch of people in town want to commit suicide. So he definitely gets the better end of it. But you know what? He doesn't avoid it like they do. They're kind of just living in fear the whole time. And when he comes there to disturb that area, you know, they're not the ones that went in there and tried to do anything about it. They just tried to keep everyone away. And I get it. Like, you don't want to fucking go out there and get your kid killed because who knows what you can even do to stop her. But he goes and tries. Obviously, with the second film, it doesn't work. And with this first film, it doesn't work either. She's still out there, and she kills him and his kid. So, you know, it didn't do really anything. But as I said, it's kind of a happy ending. So I guess it kind of works. But yeah, anyways, let's move on to the second one.